So you think you might have a career problem, you're being rewarded, you're finding success, you're making more money, and you're looking at a lot more opportunity, but you're unsatisfied and you're saying, well, it's got to be the job, it's got to be my career, I'm not living out my purpose, so I need to change everything. And what I'd say is you might actually not have a career problem or a job problem. It may be a freedom and fulfillment problem. It may be actually, if we hold the mirror up, something that you yourself need to change within. And that's a discovery that you'll need to make for yourself, but it's a discovery a lot of people make when I'm on a call with them for the first time and they're saying, look, this is something that's been rewarding. It's something that I've done for a while. I'm established in. It's just not fulfilling. And then they realize, wait a second, okay, well, what is it? It's the toxic work environment. It's the relationship dynamic. It's the emptiness from making more money. It's the I'm not living out in my God-given identity. It's the all of these things, that they want to push onto other people, other things or circumstances, rather than really looking within and going, hold on, what is within my power to change that doesn't necessarily involve making a drastic change to the external environment? In other words, what can I do right now? And what people discover is that some of the things that they're facing, maybe that they're identifying for the first time, as they look at their life, they discover, wait, this isn't actually the first time. There's been a pattern of some of these things. And as they start to identify a broken pattern and dysfunction, and maybe even a word that comes to light is like some bondage, I'm lacking this self-confidence. Although other people might see me as successful, I internally I'm knowing that I've got more potential, but I don't have this confidence that I once had. I'm feeling like I'm not as healthy as I know I can be. I'd love to have more freedom. And they think freedom is like schedule autonomy, although that's a part of freedom. Really, freedom starts within and the choices that you're making. So as you come to discover some of these things, you start to realize, well, maybe a career path change could be a part of the process of change for me. Could be, but it's not necessarily the first thing. And I've worked with many people who, as they go through the boot camp, those 8 weeks, they start to discover, wait, my circumstances actually haven't really changed, but I have. And as a result, how I engage in my life on a day-to-day basis has changed. How I feel on a day-to-day basis, because I have healthy rhythms and I know kind of what's within my control, what's not, and I'm actually taking control of the things that are within my control. I'm having some hard conversations. I'm recognizing I need to actually raise my standards a little bit and start engaging in a different way rather than just allowing things to happen. And maybe the Lord is leading me into changing, how I'm interacting, whether it's at home or at work or, even just what I'm prioritizing. They start to realize, wait a second, the career thing is actually not as bad as it seems. They were just one conversation away from realizing it's not as it seems. The circumstance is not as it seems. In other words, the mindset shift changed everything. And so as you start to discover for yourself what's at the root, and that's really key in what I'm talking about. Okay, so you think it's a career thing. You think it might be there's like, got to be something out there where I can make money and I find purpose in it. And there may be something that is more aligned for you vocationally. That's not necessarily the first thing that you need. In other words, it doesn't matter where you go, if you move, if you change careers, you have a new relationship, whatever it might be, you're still going with you. In other words, you yourself are still going to carry the same patterns of thinking, speaking, and behaving wherever you go. So at the root is the change within you. And that's the first thing that I always point people to, is that you have a responsibility, we, not just you, we as people, we have a responsibility to really look in the mirror and go, okay, Lord, what do you see? Search my heart. Show me what you want me to change. Something that's going to sustain no matter where I go, whether I stay here for the rest of my career, whether I go do 10 different things from here. I want you to show me the person that I'm made to be and how I can be that person right now. And that's something we talk about when we're talking about vision and version 2.0 of the person you're becoming, and how you can be that person right now making decisions through what I call the glasses, right? When you put on glasses, you see life from a new perspective. When you put on glasses to see your life through the lens of the person you're becoming, not who you've been, Not where you are right now, but who you can be and how that person makes decisions aligned with your God-given identity. How do you engage with people at work who maybe are in a toxic work environment? How do you actually prioritize your mornings? How do you engage when you're at home? How do you take control of your life when it seems like other things are just coming at you and it's a little overwhelming? These are some questions that you can be asking, and you start to identify, wow, I actually have a little bit more control over the process as the Lord's leading. I'm not in full control. I have more control over the process of the change that I'm making, even if I'm not going to, do something drastic and quit my job and, travel the world, start a nonprofit, all these things I think are going to solve the problem. I actually can start making changes to address the root of the symptoms that I'm feeling as I'm starting to identify my control in the situation and the change that can happen within. So this is something worth thinking about when you're asking the question for direction, like, where am I going? Who am I really? What is my purpose? And is it a career thing that's going to solve all of these questions? The answer, I'll be honest with you, is it's not. It's never going to be this one external thing. As somebody who left Wall Street, entered the entrepreneurship journey thinking that would solve everything, there's alignment for me in entrepreneurship. There's alignment for me in coaching. But guess what? There have been many times throughout the journey where I've had to say, I have to recommit to this career path for me right now, which I believe is also a calling in many ways, because guess what? I'm actually not that passionate about something that is very purposeful for me. The real passion comes when I'm able to see change that people are making. But guess what? There's a lot of times in between the here's where they are and here's where they're becoming, or here's who they're becoming and all the change that's happening. There's a lot of time in between. And there's a lot of work that goes into it in terms of the work that I'm doing, that I'm personally investing in my own growth and development, that I'm investing in with other people. There's a lot of days where I have to say, I'm committed to what I'm doing, even though I don't feel as though this is something that's going to be, the solution for every challenge that I'm facing. You have to recognize, well, what actually is the real solution is getting real with what you're facing, and that is yourself every single day. So think about it when you start considering like, oh, work is the problem, or I just need to have this one thing. Think about the reality that you are then saying you don't have control over the situation, that you're blaming something. While there may be some partial truth to that, you have to take the other part of that, and that is that you have control over something. If you haven't watched the video about victim mindset, it would be a good one, especially if you might have a blind spot in that, and it might help you get more language and even understanding as to where you might have control and some signals or signs of a victim mindset in whatever circumstance that you're in, and how that can change, and how you can really be empowered to be transformed by the renewing of your mind.